Welcome to Dhaka, a city of 20 million people where the streets are so narrow that two rickshaws can barely pass each other. Here, traffic lights don't work, sidewalks don't exist, and cars can sit stuck in jams for 6 hours a day. The city keeps growing, but without a plan. Every year, millions of migrants arrive from the north of the country, escaping floods and hunger. They build shelters from curtains and metal sheets on rooftops and along railway tracks. As a result, Dhaka is becoming one of the most overcrowded and chaotic megacities on the planet. Bangladesh is the global factory of cheap clothing. Zara, H&M, Primark, almost all their products are sewn here. But behind that are hellish conditions. People work 12 to 14 hours a day in stifling hangars with no ventilation, no days off, earning $70 a month. Sometimes buildings collapse, like the Rana Plaza complex where 1,100 people died under the rubble. No one paid compensation, a new building was simply constructed. People still go there because they have no choice. In Dhaka, even begging on the streets is harder than working in a garment factory. In the capital of Bangladesh, even the rent for a slum room is often higher than the average salary. That's why hundreds of thousands of people live literally wherever they can, on rooftops, in unfinished buildings, under staircases. Many families share one room without windows or water, squeezing in 8 to 10 people. To cook, they make fire right on the roof. A shower is just a bucket of cloudy water. A toilet, one for 100 residents, and not always working. Electricity is a luxury that can be cut off at any moment. Generations grow up in these conditions. They have no choice, no prospects, no air. Bangladesh is one of the most vulnerable countries to climate change. Every year, floods cover up to 10,000 hectares of land. Rivers change course, eating away villages and crops. Entire settlements go underwater, not for a day, but forever. But people cannot leave. They have nowhere to go. Cities cannot handle the flow of migrants. As a result, rural families end up in slums with no jobs and no living conditions. Those who stay live on dams and rooftops. Some build houses from plastic bottles, trying at least to survive. But the forces of nature are stronger and the number of people keeps growing. On top of its own disasters, Bangladesh has taken in almost 1 million Rohingya refugees from neighboring Myanmar. They live in the giant Kutupalong camp, the most densely populated in the world. Up to 40,000 people per square kilometer. No sewage, one water pump for 1,000 residents, tents made of tarps and sticks, epidemics, fires, floods, ordinary events. The government cannot cope even with its own citizens. But refugees cannot go back. Their homes were burned down. International organizations warn if the population keeps rising, not only the economy, but social order itself may collapse. In Bangladesh, one doctor serves 5,000 people. In public hospitals, patients lie on the floor, in corridors, sometimes even outside. Equipment doesn't work because power is cut. One ward can hold dozens of people with different diagnoses. Surgeries are sometimes performed without anesthesia. There are no medicines, no sterile conditions. Sometimes relatives of patients help surgeons, holding a flashlight or a bandage. Private clinics are out of reach. The price of a simple IV drip can exceed a whole family's monthly income. Dhaka is a city drowning in its own waste. Sewer lids are open, pipes leak directly into the streets. Many areas have no centralized system. Sewage just flows into roadside ditches. During the rainy season, this mix bursts out and floods homes, schools, shops. People literally walk through sewage because it is the only way to get to work. Diseases spread instantly, from cholera to skin infections. But the city has neither the budget nor the plan to stop it.
Even in the capital, water is supplied on schedule, morning and evening, 1 hour each. At other times, huge lines form at water pumps. Women and children carry dozens of plastic cans waiting under the burning sun or pouring rain. Sometimes the water is muddy and smells like sewage, but people still drink it. In the poorest districts, water is sold from barrels at inflated prices, turning it into a business. Fights break out over a single bucket. Sometimes a pipe breaks and an entire neighborhood is left without drinking water for a day.
On the roofs of trains in Bangladesh, you don't see tourists or thrill seekers. It's the only way for thousands of people to get to work, to school, or home. There is no space even to stand inside the carriages. People risk their lives climbing up the sides, holding children or luggage in their hands. Sometimes someone falls, but the train does not stop. Platforms are so crowded that boarding and exiting happens literally in a jump. Yet the railway is one of the few transport systems available to the poor, and it cannot handle the flow. Millions of children in Bangladesh cannot afford school. Many start working at the age of 6 on construction sites, in shops, in workshops, but some still study under bridges, in tents, on rooftops. Such schools are opened by volunteers and local teachers. Desks are cardboard boxes. A wall serves as a blackboard. No notebooks, no silence, no breaks. But children come every day because they know this is their only chance to escape poverty. Regular schools are overcrowded, up to 100 pupils in one class with only 20 chairs. Every year, more than 2 million people move to Dhaka. They flee floods, hunger, and unemployment in rural areas. But the city is not limitless. Housing is not built. Infrastructure is not expanded. People simply occupy land, along railways, on roadsides, in industrial zones. That's how endless slums grow, from tin sheets, rags, and garbage. No water, no sewage, no electricity. Fire is a frequent cause of disasters, but people still come here because even such a life gives more chances than the abandoned villages in the north. Cox's Bazar is the longest beach in the world, but in Bangladesh it's no resort. There are no sunbeds, no hotels, no tourists. Instead, crowds of locals, traders, poor people, and refugees pushed out from camps. The beach has become a shelter, a market, a dormitory. The water is dirty, plastic bottles everywhere, fish already spoiled, dying animals. People swim next to sewage outflow. Tourism here is just a word on a sign. Even if a tourist came, he would run away within an hour, because the beach has long turned into a survival zone under the burning sun and the cries of street vendors. In Bangladesh, half the population has no access to a toilet, especially in rural areas and slums. What remains? The river. It is used for everything: relieving oneself, washing, collecting water, dumping trash. People live along the banks. Children play in sewage water, and nearby lies a dead goat and plastic bags. There is nothing to clean. The sewage system barely exists. After every rain, all the dirt is washed back into the river. Then this water is used to irrigate rice fields, and sometimes even drunk. This is not a choice. This is the only reality. In Bangladesh, building collapses are not rare, especially in industrial areas and slums where construction happens without engineers or permits. Walls are made of sand and dirt, ceilings rest on scrap metal. A single rain or tremor, and a house falls. Entire families end up under the rubble. Sometimes it happens at night, then there's no chance. Rescuers arrive late because roads are blocked with cars and trash. People dig with their hands without equipment, and even if they survive, they are left without a roof, without help, without hope. In Dhaka, almost nothing works. Electricity is cut by schedule. Garbage is not collected for weeks. Drains are clogged. At every rain, the city goes underwater. Buses break down mid-route. The internet disappears for hours. Everything was built long ago, hastily, and no one repairs it. People get used to living in constant breakdown. Refrigerators stay off, traffic lights are just metal poles, even ATMs may not work for weeks. Everything depends on random people and personal connections. And all this in the California of a country that dreams of joining the list of developing nations. But for now, it remains just a dream.